On the interactive map, correct? Taking a look.
Yes, and then what we do is a lot of times on the very front page, we'll pronounce it like something is going on so they can see it immediately.
I don't see the additional 12 months as being a stumbling block, because if we get the word out there, everything, all these should probably be taken care of in the next probably 6-7 months. But to me, a little more time doesn't hurt. It's only affected those affected properties, as opposed to not everybody who went from a B2 to a C2 can say, oh, wait a minute, I want to, a free change of venue. No, you have exactly what you had before.
Sure.
These are the ones who were only affected by the zoning classification change. It just gives us a little more time to make sure we're doing our due diligence to let everybody have a say so. That's my only thing. And some kind of good outreach program.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Anybody else would like to offer anything that we might add to this proposal? What I'll do is take each of these new ideas, and we can vote on adding those into the policy, and then have a complete policy when we're done.
I think Mr. Andrews had a
Mr.
question.
I'm sorry, Mr. Andrews?
That's quite all right. I wanted to ask Mr. Young if that was a motion.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry, it was. I would assume that would be the appropriate thing, Mr. Chair, to do as a formal motion.
Yeah, well,
If there's not enough.
because there's a, let me just say this just for a second, because what we have is just a proposed
Right.
policy. We would have to structure what that policy would be. So if we needed to include anything, I think one vote is the most appropriate thing to do at the end. But we could, if you'd like to, we could vote on every addition to add to the policy, and then we would vote on the policy as, for lack of a better description, amended, if you will. So.
Mr. Andrews, would you feel more comfortable that way?
Works for me, sir.
Mr. Remedies?
No, I just, my question was on these these downzone properties. Are we sure that, because I'd asked for that list of properties that were affected, and I wanted to be able to have us and the council and the commission look at these properties and see if things exactly like what happened to Mr. Draper's property, which is it took it out of commerce and it qualified for programs through the Louisiana Economic Development and the North Louisiana Economic Partnership. There's several agencies out there that continually market this property that may not realize until they bring somebody to the table that the property has been downzoned. So if we take the position that we only want to respond to complaints or only want to, then that kind of goes against, this is a planning office and to look forward and to try to prevent problems from happening rather than just say, well, this is what we did. If there's a problem, they'll yell loud enough and we'll fix it. So that's why I've asked for that list that I'm assuming that I won't get because I didn't get it. So I just want to be sure that we want to put this on the table, that this is the position that our board wants to take, is to just be reactive and not clearly identify all the properties that have been downzoned. By asking for a list. I mean, when we addressed the properties along the river, the staff knew exactly to the number how many properties along there had been downzoned. So I think that it's something that can be done, and I think it's responsible for us to provide this list to both governing bodies, and so we can be sure that we don't have a negative impact on our community, and that's our responsibility.
All right. Mr. Cooper?
Well, I don't disagree with everything you said, but I will say to describe us as being strictly reactive is an absolutely unfair description.
I say in this instance, we would be reactive.
Well, we spent lots of money and time being very proactive about this, much. So we aren't the biggest MPC in the world. Our budget is not big. To task our staff and our little tiny budget, I just think that's overkill. I think some of the greater, I guess the land that's bigger, maybe some of these big properties that we talked about in our meeting with the industrial that were affected, and that's been addressed. If there's some bigger land areas, we might want to consider contacting those owners, but I think overall what we want, and the reason we passed the UDC, is to move in a certain direction. So if we just go out and contact, and first of all, make our staff go through thousands and thousands of properties and do all this grid, cross-checking, and then we contact all these people, and we're sort of inviting them to ask for changes that are not in compliance with our UDC and not in compliance with our master plan necessarily. We're just kind of going backwards.
Rather
So-
than hope they don't notice.
No, it's not that they don't notice, it's that they might not be affected. We just might not, it just might be a big fat waste of time. So, and landowners have a responsibility, there is, I own land, I don't just sit back and wait to be contacted by the city anytime there's a problem. If there's some bigger tracts or if there's some particular parts that you or anybody is interested in or that you think is a problem, I'm not opposed to going through and maybe contacting those owners if you think there's a specific
Well, I'm not asking
reason.
anyone to contact. All I said was have the staff provide the information to the board and so we can pass it to the commission and the council, who are accountable to the voters. That's what I'm talking about. But see, we're apologizing to these folks that come to the microphone as if
We're not-
we really didn't
I
intend
don't
for this to
agree with
happen.
that. I
But
don't
now
agree
we're
we're
saying, well, we hope they
apologizing
don't
for that.
notice, and that's the problem I have with this.
I think these are
Okay, just-
foreseeable growing pains, and I think the benefits we're gonna get from the UDC are gonna outweigh these problems in the end.
That's because you
Listen,
don't own any
listen,
property that's
Listen, Mr.
affected.
Remedies, hold on one second. I think one of the problems is that what we're asking to do is to be sure that people will know going forward that we are willing to redress any issues that will happen. I don't know how you anticipate, and even if you go back and the things that we're asking to do, we had a case today and we've had issues internally that the staff has already been proactive in doing. I think you may be right if there's some more money and a larger staff to be able to do all those things. The best case scenario in the world is to have endless pot of money to be able to hire people to do every little thing. And I agree, and I wish we could. That would be really serving the citizens at a very high level. Since we don't have that, I think it is in our best interest to say to people, to say to the citizens of this parish and of this city that because there's been some changes, there are unintended consequences. And when those unintended consequences happen, we will redress those things. I think the other side of that, what you're describing is saying, hey, you're on your own, and if it comes up, we might think about it. We don't know. And that's not what anybody's saying. And I think it'd be just misguided to even say that. I think we could say how you feel. I think that'd be the best thing, and not to, I think project motive onto anybody else, particularly the board in general. But I appreciate what you're saying, but I think we have to make strides to be sure that we are doing not just what we think, but what we really mean, and this will address what it is we want to do, not what we hope should be done. This is not in any way, shape, or form, I think, necessarily utopian, but we have to do something to let people know we really are trying to be sure we want to serve them.
Press releases, radio interviews, anything you would like to do is notice. It's further notice. It is an invitation. So check your status. Come to us if there's a problem. I think that is an additional step besides just the
But if the
waiver of
staff took the
fees.
time to one by one select these properties and take them down, because somehow they know better than the commerce does of what's best for our city, we all get, we're surprised at that, we didn't realize this property had been down zone, but the staff member and the consultant did, okay? So if we didn't realize that, wouldn't you want to be fully informed if you're charged with this?
Well, there's also the complaint that it takes forever to get an application through because the staff takes so long and it takes forever, a month for them to get their applications viewed and to sit down and have a meeting. Sorry, they're busy. They're going through and they're finding all these properties that the UDC.
There's a faster way.
I'm just saying this is a compromise. Because our
It's a
staff is
solution.
actually busy.
It's a solution.
When the city takes over, they'll get it done. Anything else? I think what we want to do is Mr. Young had a notion about changing this 12 months to 24 months. We get a motion
And
on that.
inserting a campaign.
I was just going to take
Yes.
it one
Okay,
at a
one
time.
time, that's fine.
Yeah. 24 months, Mr. Young, you want to move to do that?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
So
I move.
move. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Young, second by Mr. Andrews on 24 months. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. All All right, it passes, so we'll change the language to 24 months, and then there's a
Second
outreach
motion
campaign
is
motion.
outreach campaign. The staff will develop an outreach campaign to get the word out about people, so they can look at the interactive map and see what they're.
But wouldn't that be
Certainly do.
Do we have a
too onerous
second?
and time
Do we have a
consuming?
second?
Do what?
We
No,
do
it
have a
wouldn't.
second. We
It
don't have
wouldn't.
discussion.
I have a second.
Okay, I'm
Second.
sorry, Mr.
Now,
Mendes, you had a question
any
for me?
questions?
Would that still be considered honors, time consuming, and a waste of time? That
If
they
so,
could
we
be
can
doing
vote
other
against
things?
this. If so, we can vote against it.
Just pick an argument.
I recommend you vote against it if you think it's onerous. All in favor, vote yes. All opposed, no. All right, next thing is other business master plan implementation report, Mr.
So,
Sweeney.
I have only one thing to tell you, and that is you had asked me last time whether or not when the next MPO meeting was going to be, where they talked about the selection of the I-49 connector. It will be August the 18th in this council chamber at 9 o'clock.
All right,
I will be here, and I invite you to
That date
come.
again?
August the 18th, which is a Friday, the MPO board meeting, and it will be at 9 o'clock. And on the agenda is the selection of the I-49 corridor.
all right.
That's all I have.
No other staff reports?
I have no more.
All
I
right.
figured you didn't want to hear any more today.
No other items for future discussion? Chair, board member comments? Any board members' comments?
I had
Mr. Remedios?
The resolution, I had two that I passed around, and just one of those I wanted to address this month. The other one would be addressed last month. But the first question I had was, I had requested that item be added to the agenda for this month, and I don't see it on there. Is there a reason why that didn't get added to the agenda?
I didn't get an email.
No, you said last month at the meeting on the record that I asked to add that to the agenda, and you said, Mr. Sweeney, will you add that to the agenda? And he said, yes, I will.
What
What-
item were
what-
we
what-
talking about?
About the addressing the properties along the Red River.
Well, the response that we had is the response to that.
The map report, the
The
recommended
report that you
policy.
got and the information we had was the response to that.
The high tower and
But
Yeah,
but
we voted on that.
But
That's these pages.
those
right?
rezonings have to be done through a process, and so it'd have to go for probably the October meeting.
Okay.
I'm talking about the specific properties that we were talking about in our lunch meeting.
Yes. Well, that's what I wanted to,
So if you're asking, when will those three property owners, their application be before you on an agenda, it would be October.
okay. Now, are they going to be charged with hiring someone and coming back through?
No, sir. They will not be, if you approve this policy as you've done, now they will not be charged an application fee.
No. I'm saying, will they have to come down and make the application and come back through? Because what I want to do is make a motion that all those properties that are on the paperwork that I passed around be reverted back to what they had before
they
passing to the
haven't made a
EDC.
decision about what they want yet.
You
What's
weren't
that?
in the meeting.
No, I was in the meeting, but I'm saying that Mr. Sweeney acted as if they think that we're going to put their property back to where it was, where it should be.
No,
That's not
That's not the
That's not
conversation
it.
I had with them. Their conversation, and the end of the conversation was that they would be October when their application would be presented before.
They're choosing different ones
They're-
they're thinking about.
They're going
looking
through the
at them.
process of deciding how they want their property rezoned.
Right, and they may want it to revert back,
Yeah,
and that's
maybe
fine.
maybe
And
that's
that's
it, right.
fine.
They
if
met a
do.
2.5-hour meeting.
But they
Okay.
might want.
That's not accurate, the way they took what they took away from
Were you in the
meeting,
meeting with
so-
them?
Well, sir, I received a letter from Mr. Hightower that was exactly what I just said.
Okay,
So
but
I-
you
I
also
know-
told me last time upstairs that you
Argument.
you talked to Mr. Hightower, and I called him in between the meeting, and I stepped out, and I told him what you said, and he said that is absolutely not true.
Well,
So-
he said, she said, I don't want to get into that.
No, I'm just saying that
Well-
there's been more than once that what you said is not accurate, and that's why when I followed up with him and spoke to them.
Thank you, sir, I do appreciate
So-
that.
That's why I'm saying that I'd like to make a motion that those properties be reverted back to.
And it has to be, that's not on the agenda, and so it would have to be.
But that's what I'm
unanimous.
saying, that that's what I asked that to be added to the agenda.
But we could not do that at the time. We had to have the conversation with the property owners first, get the issues worked out, and they agreed to the fact that the rezoning would come back.
But that's not what I asked. I asked it to be added to the agenda, and it was said that it was gonna be added to the
I thought
agenda.
it was on the agenda. We did vote on something.
We didn't, no, I'm saying it did not, we did not vote on it. I wanted a motion on the agenda for action. That's the problem.
Well, I think what happens is, I said to him, can you do it? He said yes, and I think that what should have happened though is, typically we send an email so we make sure we know, because I thought this was the way he addressed it. And and they saying, what you're saying now, this wasn't a way to address it. This wasn't what you had anticipated. Because at the last meeting, you didn't say, I want to vote on it at the next meeting.
Okay, but I
I thought you
specifically.
wanted it addressed.
You want the
like
property
problem
owners
solved.
happy. You want the property owners taken care of, right? That's
They
your
wanted to go back
objective.
to what they had
Okay,
before.
Right.
at
may.
the time that you talked to them, that's probably correct. Since then, the staff has met with them, and the property owners are deciding on which of the ones they want. They might go back to the original, they might choose something
There's a whole report
else.
on it. There's a whole
Okay.
report.
So your objective to get the property owners satisfied is a good one,
And
and
it has
it's
been
being addressed.
achieved. And they're satisfied.
Okay, we'll address it later. Secondly, last month I was promised an email regarding the hours that the office would be, of why the office was closed at lunch and the phones were turned off when it was more convenient for people to come in, and I've never received that email.
Okay, you were sent an email just like everyone
We
on
all
this board
received
was.
Okay.
I could forward a copy to you.
Yeah, I don't, maybe you can, because I don't receive all the emails.
What, you don't?
Well, sir, I have your email address like everyone else's, and you receive everything, and it never comes back to me.
Yeah.
Have you changed email address?
I have not.
Well, you received it.
It's
Okay.
it's a 2-page document with red writing on it as well from, I want to say, I don't know what day it was.
And we even had it hand delivered to Miss Bessie, because she was the one that also brought it up.
It was Monday, I received it on Monday.
The 31st of July.
Yeah, Monday,
Oh, so
July
this-
31st at 2:09.
It was this Monday.
Yes.
Could have been, yeah.
Okay.
31st at 2:09.
Okay, I'm not seeing it, but,
I printed it out, so maybe I'll hand it to you. I just can't find it.
okay. Can we place that on the agenda next month to discuss, please?
Yes.
Okay, should I send you an email to confirm?
Yes,
that
you
that'll be-
should.
I will.
And I'll forward it to you.
Okay,
Yeah, there it is.
That's the letter that we emailed.
very good.
I just
Okay.
printed that out of my inbox.
Okay, Mr. Chair, that's all I have.
All right, any other members?
Motion to adjourn.
I have motion to adjourn. I
Second.
second.
Who made the motion?